Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. This is Truth News. I am Walter Bass. Tonight we are going to cover some celebrities who died trying to expose child sex trafficking. And they didn't just die, let's be honest, they were murdered because they were going to expose child sex trafficking, which is the whole purpose and intent of me making these videos every single day, as today is day 1623 since serial child sexual predator State Judge Kelly Hansen of Riverside County, California, kidnapped, molested, and presumably murdered my son, and for all I know, my son has been eaten like millions of other children. And while I scroll to look up this picture of this judge, so if you see him, you will know who a serial child sex predator is. Keep your children away. Call the police immediately, which they're not going to do anything, let's be honest. We don't have any laws in this country, and I'll tell you why. Today, the United Nations honored us with the prestigious recognition of crimes against humanity. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The United States of America was recognized by the United Nations for crimes against humanity for what they've done to all these children. My government, my intelligence agencies, my law enforcement, my president make me proud to be an American. Crimes against humanity for decades-long abuse, rape, murder, and sale of children, including my son. This man right here is a state judge in Riverside County, California, with 16 years worth of victims of children he has kidnapped, molested, raped, tortured, murdered, and sold. And I haven't seen or heard from my son since 2021, as that man kidnapped him and sexually assaulted him at just 7 years old. That's right, my son was 7 years old when he was violently sexually assaulted. And as I will show you now, this is the mentality of these psychopaths in the police intelligence, who I've been calling for years. I've been calling Capitol Hill since 2021. 911 on Capitol Hill, every congressman, every senator. The White House has blocked my number completely. I cannot call Washington, D.C., except for the intelligence agency. And if you see right here, you'll see a phone call at 12:54 a.m. Do you see that phone call? That phone call is 2 missed calls at 12:54 a.m. from Capitol Police Intelligence. And they call me just as an evil tit for tat for reporting child sex trafficking and exposing a 16-year career sexual predator with thousands of victims of children, rather than prosecute Kelly Hansen, because they can't find all the children he has kidnapped, murdered, raped, and sold. The 16 years, thousands of kids gone. Rather than prosecute him, what the federal intelligence agencies have done is assault me 3 times, make me live in a car for 3 years, put me on numerous mental health holds for reporting child sex trafficking, as that's their modus operandi. How many people have we heard them call crazy for exposing what they do? Let's see, Dave Chappelle, Britney Spears, Mel Gibson, Candace Owens, countless others. I'm sure if I did more research, I could find more, but that's just off the top of my head. And the ironic thing is, as I read the Bible, listen to my John MacArthur every day, they did the same exact thing to Jesus Christ, to Paul the Apostle, and John the Baptist. They said they were crazy. They said they had demon possession, said they were lunatics. This is all in the Bible. This is the modus operandi for these people for 2,000 years. People who rape, eat, murder, and sell children say that anyone who reports them is crazy, discredits them, blackballs them, blacklists them, and, worse. So without any further ado, let's get into today's episode. I wanted to get that out, as that's the entire premise of making these videos. And it's funny, when I call Capitol Police Intelligence, which I do every single day, because they choose to engage in psychological warfare. So I call them every day, berate them, tell them the truth about themselves, what scumbags they are, that they are psychopaths, and that they should probably just go die and make the world a little bit better. I don't think at this point any average American citizen has any respect or need for our government, whether it's Congress, whether it's the president, the cabinet, the intelligence agencies, the CIA. I think we've about had enough of these people. And I use that term loosely, people, because they're not people. People have a conscience. People have morals, values, integrity, dignity, self-awareness. They possess human emotions like empathy, compassion, remorse, guilt. These are creatures. These are skinwalkers. They're just bags of flesh. No more, no less. Just empty bags of flesh breathing air. That's all they are. So we're going to talk about the Silent Children documentary, which was never made because the people who were making it, all four were murdered. Suicide. Suicide. We all know that term. The Clintons' modus operandi. Suicide. So I was doing research yesterday, and I happened to come across four people, which one of them I've never even heard of until yesterday, and his name is Avicii. I guess he was some kind of DJ or something. Maybe some of you have heard of Avicii. But Chester Bennington, I actually did listen to a lot of his music, and I knew his story that he was abused as a child. And, his music with Linkin Park, if you don't know who Chester Bennington is, he was the screaming part of Linkin Park. There's a rap guy that just kind of speaks in a rap kind of style. And then there was Chester Bennington, who did a lot of the choruses, and he did it in a screaming voice. And you could almost feel his pain and feel his passion when he sang. He was definitely influential in my life. I listened to a lot of Linkin Park. I still listen to Linkin Park today. There's a couple of songs on my playlist that come across when I'm at the gym sometimes. So, and he's dead, unfortunately. Supposed suicide. Yeah, we know how that goes. Anthony Bourdain, which I was familiar with. My sister was a fan of him. He did a lot of the traveling shows. I think he did some food stuff. And Chris Cornell, Chris Cornell was talented. He was in like 3 or 4 different bands, and he was just musically gifted, Chris Cornell. So, and he was influential in the music industry, and I listened to his music. I like Chris Cornell. But all 4 of these people were suicided. Now here's what's funny. When I say suicided, we're gonna go through what was going on. They were working, all 4 of them were working on a documentary to report child sex trafficking in Hollywood and the music industry because they were sick of it. They were sick of it. Chester Bennington had been abused as a child, and they had platforms that could reach millions of people. Different aspects of platforms too. Some of them musical, like Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell. Their platform was in the music industry. Anthony Bourdain, he was on television. Avicii was a DJ, so he had a different audience. So they all 4 were capable of reaching millions of people with different audiences. And as we know, like I said today, we got honored with we were recognized for crimes against humanity as the United States of America. And there's another country right now that's guilty of crimes against humanity. I can't think of the name of them. There's only 2 countries on planet Earth right now committing crimes against humanity. They're both recognized by the United Nations, and I think one of them might be our greatest ally. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. So these 4 people, we're going to look at the dates in which they died. And we're going to go over some things like Chester Bennington's wife said there was no way he committed suicide. She said, sure, he had a lot of problems. Sure, he had gone through some things from his childhood, but in no way, shape, or form did Chester Bennington's wife think he committed suicide. And it's kind of strange, a lot of these people just very strange, very, very strange. So Chester Bennington died on July 20th, 2017. Anthony Bourdain died less than 1 year later on June 8th, 2018. Now, Chris Cornell died May 18th, 2017, which was just 2 months before Chester Bennington. And then Avicii died April 20th, 2018, which was 2 months before Anthony Bourdain. So if we look at these 4 deaths, and this is in literally less than just over 1 year, right at 1 year, 4 people died. All 4 suicide, all 4 with massive audiences and very successful financially. So we'll put them in order for you. So May 18th, 2017, Chris Cornell dies. 2 months later, July 20th, 2017, Chester Bennington dies. April 20th, the following year, Avicii dies. And then June 8th, the same year of Avicii, which is 2018, Anthony Bourdain dies. And all 4 of these people were working together on a documentary that was going to be called The Silent Children, which was going to expose all of the child sex trafficking going on in Hollywood, the music industry, which it's all coming out now. Every bit of it. It's sick, it's vile, it's evil. And, these people at Capitol Police Intelligence that I call every day, you should hear the things they say, how they blamed me. They've actually blamed me for my son being kidnapped and violently sexually assaulted. And I'm like, who does that? And the monotone, the lack of humanity in these people, how they can just get in front of anyone, a camera, millions of people, get on stages, and just act like nothing ever happened. It's unbelievable to me. Tim Dillon did a show about someone who was affiliated with Epstein. It might have been Epstein himself. But he had tickets to a comedy show. And that same night, he had brutally, raped and beaten a child. And then he said, oh, I got to go to a comedy show. It's in the emails, in the files. And Tim Dillon was like, what kind of person can do this to a child and then go see a comedy show? I mean, that tells you right there that there's something seriously wrong with these people. And their only defense is everyone is crazy, everyone's a liar, or it wasn't me. I mean, I've never encountered anything evil like this in my life. I've run across people who lied about things and would never change this. They just stuck to the lie. And you just got to cut those people out of your life. And we'll get to that in the Bible at the end of the show. But and this is interesting. In 2013, this is on IMDb. You can look this up for yourself. And a big reason there's 2 reasons. I don't put a lot of my receipts, that I do all my research and I take notes and then I just speak from the heart. The first reason is I want everyone to learn to think for yourself, read, and educate yourself. Do your own homework, do your own research, use your brain. I mean, we got to wake up. We can't just be scrolling all day and binge watching TV all day and think we're going to be intelligent. That doesn't work. And number 2, it's just easier. Well, I don't have the technology to do it. All I have is a tablet. I mean, literally, that's all. I don't even have a laptop. I do a lot of this research either from my phone or my tablet, and I take notes on old school pen and paper, which I enjoy writing. I write every day. If you have things from your past or anything that bothers you, writing is a really good way to get that stuff out of your system. Cleans your mind, cleans your body, cleans your soul. Writing is really a good outlet for anyone. I'd recommend it. But again, you can look this up for yourself. 2013 IMDb, two rock stars battled to expose an underground child auction located in the basement of the Getty Museum in Los Angeles. I would encourage anybody to look that up. And there's more. These four, Chester Bennington, Anthony Bourdain, Chris Cornell, and Avicii, weren't the only ones murdered for trying to advocate for the protection of children. Paul Walker was working on a documentary about child sex trafficking when he died. And it's just kind of odd. I know he died in a car wreck. There's been a lot of people die in car wrecks. Anne Hesh. And Anne Hesh, who dated Ellen DeGeneres, and we know Ellen, the backdrop of her set was the famous island. And we know Ellen is involved in all of this. Anne Hesh dated Ellen DeGeneres. And Anne Hesh was working with a cinematographer, Helena Hutchins, on exposing child sex trafficking. I believe Paul Walker, Anne Hesh, and Helena Hutchins were all working together. And this is another set. Now, we've seen the first set, Chester Bennington, Bourdain, Cornell, Avicii. Those four were working on a documentary to expose child sex trafficking. Those four all end up dead. Paul Walker, Anne Hesh, and cinematographer Helena Hutchins were all working on a documentary to expose child sex trafficking, and all three of them wound up dead. Now, some of you are probably like, who's Helena Hutchins? And I thought the same thing when I saw her name. I was like, who is Helena Hutchins? And then when I read the story of how she died, I realized who she was. She was the person shot on the movie set by Alec Baldwin when a real bullet was accidentally put in the gun on the Rust set in New Mexico. And Alec Baldwin was never faced any punishment for that. He just got to kill her, and that was the end of that. Isn't that ironic that people who work on child sex trafficking documentaries, who have platforms or influence or fame or money, always end up dead? It's like a pattern of behavior with this. We got rock stars, television stars, Hollywood actors, and Anne Hesh. There's a video of her when she was dating Ellen. They when they took her to the hospital, she was in a car wreck. First of all, she was in a car accident. There's video of this, and I'd recommend you go watch the Anne Hesh video of her car accident. She's making these calls saying Ellen is crazy, and Ellen was trying to kill her. And she was trying to flee Ellen, and she ended up getting picked up by LA ambulance, fire department, whatever the case may be. But they had her on a stretcher, completely covered up. You know how they cover a body all the way over the head like they're dead? She was covered up like she was already dead, and she came out from under the sheet and was like, no, I'm not. And then they took her to the hospital. She died 7 days later. So... And Avicii's father, and you, please, I encourage everyone to go research this. This is how bad the United States of America is when it comes to child sex trafficking. I mean, from the Island Boy files to Chester Bennington, Anthony Bourdain, Chris Cornell, Avicii, Anne Hesh, Paul Walker, Helena Hutchins. I believe Kobe Bryant and Gigi were victims of this. Kobe was working on a children's book. Kobe was mentoring children. Kobe was advocating for children, and Kobe had a massive platform. And the fact that his helicopter pilot, 20 years experience, just on a beautiful day, no storms, no rain, no winds, no nothing, just happened to crash. It was sabotaged. Kobe's helicopter was sabotaged. He was murdered to silence him for speaking out to help children, as they do to everybody. I mean, look what they're doing to Thomas Massie right now. They're coming out against him. Thomas Massie had to issue a statement, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Both of them had to issue a statement saying that they are not suicidal. Thomas Massey went to the lengths to say he's a great swimmer. There's no deep bodies of water on his land. He does not point guns at himself. He is healthy and he eats healthy. Thomas Massey, look at what he posted. It's unbelievable that in the United States of America in 2026, if you want to protect children and not have children raped, tortured, murdered, sold, or eaten, that you actually have to put a public comment out to the world saying I'm not suicidal. Because this is what these people have been doing for decades. So Avicii's father, because I looked into Avicii, I didn't know who he was. And before I do these shows, I want to know what I'm talking about. I don't like all the allegedly, maybe, perhaps. We're not into that stuff. We just want to tell the truth, serve God, protect some kids, make the world a little bit better. That's it. That's all we're trying to do. And it seems like the whole world hates God, hates children, and hates our country. That's what it seems like to me. Our government, our intelligence agencies, law enforcement. So Avicii's father said he was murdered for exposing child sex trafficking. He flat out said that. He never said he thinks it might have been suicide. There's a chance. He said, no, my son was murdered for exposing child sex trafficking. And, Mel Gibson went through this. So many people have gone through this. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of grateful that I don't have money, I don't have fame, I'm not known. Because if I was, with all that I'm speaking out against, they would probably kill me. I think the only reason they don't do anything for me is because they view me as not a threat. If they viewed me as a threat, if I had a platform and was saying the things that I'm saying, they would have probably already taken me out. I have no doubts about that. And that's the only reason they don't, is because they don't view me as a threat, which I'm grateful for. But I know what the cost is of following God and Jesus Christ, and the cost is death. The Bible says they're going to persecute you. They're going to put you in jail, and they're probably going to kill you. All of Jesus' disciples were killed. That's what you sign up for if you want to follow Jesus Christ. When the Bible says, pick up your cross and follow me, you better understand what that means. And Jesus tells you to count the cost. Before you follow me, count the cost. It's going to cost you everything. I know it's cost me everything to give my life to Jesus in the United States of America in 2026. So, without any further ado, that's tonight's show on the child sex trafficking and what's been going on. I encourage everybody to look some of that stuff up. The more I dig into this and the more I investigate this, the more sickened I am, the more disgusted I am, and the more appalled. I mean, sometimes I'm literally speechless doing research for this. And like I said, sometimes I can only do 10, 15 minutes of research and I got to stop and take a break because I can't let that stuff consume me. The evil that's going on right now, it's consuming our country. It's consuming other countries. And we know this is not just an American problem. This is a global problem. And it has been for decades. And how anybody can look at an innocent child and think the things that they think is just inhumane, barbaric. It's sick. So tonight we're going to read 1 Corinthians 5:9. We're going to start there. And it's about sexual immorality, which is, the entire problem with our society, honestly, is sexual immorality. It's taken down many a dynasty, many a nation, many a civilization. Sexual immorality has led to the downfall of some of the biggest civilizations in the history of planet Earth. You can look it up. That's fact. I wrote to you in my epistle not to keep company with sexually immoral people. This is Jesus. I wrote to you, I'm sorry. Is that Jesus? Or is that Peter, John? I wrote to you in my epistle not to keep company with sexually immoral people. Yet I certainly did not mean with the sexually immoral people of this world, or with the covetous, or extortioners, or idolaters, since then you would need to go out of the world. And what he means when he's saying that is, you cannot leave these people. You have to be in this world, but not of it. And Jesus says that, I am in this world, I am not of it. Which means I have to be here, I have to live here, but I don't have to conform to what's going on here. And I'm not going to. All of this stuff going on in society right now, the sexual immorality, all this nastiness, I'm not going to be a part of it. I refuse. And that's where I've drawn my line when I gave my life to Christ. I'm going to live by what the Bible says. I do not condone or agree with homosexuality. That is an abomination to God, according to Leviticus 18:22. I'm not going to poison my body. I'm not going to do drugs or alcohol. Not doing any of that. I'm not going to take part in pornography. I don't do that. And I'm not going to have those people around me. And I'll be honest, I have no friends. I have no friends. I have my mother that I talk to. I have coworkers that I talk to. That's it. And the reason I don't have any friends is because almost everyone I come in contact with, they don't take care, they don't serve God. And I'm not going to give up my relationship with Christ to hang out with some scumbags that don't care about Christ. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So let me continue. But now I have written to you not to keep company with anyone named a brother who is sexually immoral. Brothers in humanity. We're all here on this earth. We are all supposed to be human beings. These creatures that are doing this stuff to children, I can't believe we share DNA. I really can't. I think these people are from another species, another planet, another galaxy. I don't know. But I cannot believe we share DNA. Or covetous, or an idolater, or a reviler, or a drunkard, or an extortioner, not even to eat with such a person. Despise the free lunch. Don't eat with these people. For what I have to do with judging those also who are outside, do you not judge those who are inside? But those who are outside God judges. Therefore, put away from yourselves the evil person. And let me break that down for you. We are all inside the world, but we don't all have to be inside of this evil society. I choose to live on the outside of society. I choose to be different, and I choose to serve Christ. And when you serve Christ, you're not going to be accepted by a lot of people. They're going to say you're a Bible thumper. They're going to think you're better than they are. They're going to say you're holier than thou. They're going to say, are you too good to come to the bar and drink with us? What, are you too good to watch porn? You're too good to go to the strip club? You're too good for us? They're going to do all this. I've been doing this for 8 years. And this is all I've heard from anybody who comes near me, is that I think I'm better than anyone else. When in fact, I'm just trying to do what the Bible says. I don't think I'm better than anyone, actually. I'm a sinner. I know what I've done. I know what I've been through. But I know who my Lord is. And I know what I'm here for is to speak out against what's going on with these children. And it says, put away from yourselves the evil person. Don't keep company with evil people and say you serve Christ. Don't go to the TD Snakes mega church and call yourself a Christian. Don't be watching Joel Osteen calling yourself a Christian. These people are demons. These people are evil. So, with that being said, I want to remind everyone, it is day 1623 since my son was kidnapped, violently sexually assaulted, presumably murdered, because I haven't seen or heard from him since 2021, and Capitol Police Intelligence told me he was dead in 2024, in the fall of 2024, when they called me and told me, your son is dead, Mr. Bass, stop calling. Exact words, verbatim. I'll never forget it. You know, you don't forget things like that. When somebody calls you and tells you your child is dead, stop calling. Those kind of things burn in your brain. They etch into your memory, you know. So, and anyone that has any doubts about what I've been through, I've got, this is one restraining order. That's one. And that's from Riverside County Sheriff's Department for reporting child sex trafficking. And I want to show you just one page. Do you see that? That's all the phone calls. That's one page of phone calls I've made to Riverside County Sheriff's Department to report State Judge Kelly Hansen, who kidnapped and violently sexually assaulted my son. Now, how many pages do you think I have of this? I'll show you. These are all phone calls. You see that? That's all phone calls. Every one of them. Every one of them are, I'm talking, there's probably over 100,000 phone calls in here. And rather than file charges, rather than investigate, rather than do anything to protect children, they chose to put a restraining order on me, attack me. And that's only one. I've got another restraining order here from Marietta inside Riverside County. So I've gotten 2 restraining orders from law enforcement. I've gotten numerous threats. I got a cease and desist email from Jason Hodges here in Oklahoma City, who works a part of the Criminal Intelligence Division, telling me to cease and desist, calling Oklahoma City about the child sex trafficking of my son. So that's a big reason I do these YouTube videos, is because I don't know what else to do. I don't know. I've emailed, I've called, I've put in federal casework. I've done everything humanly possible. And the only thing I get are phone calls at 1 o'clock in the morning with absolutely nothing to say. I get mocked, I get ridiculed, I get patronized, I get called crazy, I get restraining orders, I get physically assaulted, I get all of my resources terminated, I've had my background falsified. I mean, I understand, and I can't say this enough, what the girls who are victims of the Island Boy, and we know who I'm talking about, the courage of those women to endure this for 30 years. The Farmer sisters went to the FBI in 1996. It's been 30 years, and they have been treated like this for 30 years by the government. Stalked, harassed, threatened, intimidated for 30 years, and they're still standing up and speaking out. Those women, the bravery and the courage to lay their life down on the line. They are literally laying their life on the line to stand up against this. And the amount of respect and admiration I have for them, I can't put into words. So I hope everyone will please like, share, subscribe. Let's get the word out. Let's try to stop these evil people from harming our children. Thank you for your time, and we will see you tomorrow.